Evening, Alison. So let's hope that Facebook behaves tonight and we don't end up with having to go out and going back in again. With any luck, it'll just be a normal night. Hi Denise, you found me, that's good, makes life easier. Okay, so just to recap, not last week, the week before, we did the covers and the spine. Last week we did the hinges the right way and the page one. And I did say if you were working along, you could decorate your page one, front and back. However, as you can see, I didn't. So there's your page one front, page one back, and I will decorate it at some point. So for page two, again, I'm just going to do it with the seams on the back. So page two, if I bring the book in, so this is page two. So we've got a left opening flap, a right opening flap, and then we've got a large pocket on the front, and the right opening flap has a smaller pocket on the front there. And then if we turn it over, it's just a regular stacked pocket, oops, with photo mats inside. So you've just got your stacked pocket and then a really large photo mat to go in the back. So I'll put these away, otherwise I'll forgot what I've done with them. And get it straight. The one good thing about this collection I find is that these large tags, I've not cut them by hand. They are actually pre-cut and they just pop out of the paper pad. So that's where we're going tonight. Let's have a quick look. Hi Denise. Hi Karen. You've just finished Woodland Tales. Oh, that's fantastic. Pop a picture of it in the group. Let me see how you've done it. They do look amazing, those. Hello Helen. Not on lacrosse duty tonight. You got away with it being raining. So, okay, so first of all, we're going to cut the flap that goes on the right hand side. Ooh, I was obviously cutting that for something, but I don't know what. So our page is 8 inches high. So for the flap, we want to cut this at 8 inches by 6.5 inches. So go. Obviously it's 8 1/4 across because I'm using UK A4. So, and get rid of that. So we're going to be doing it at 6.5 inches. Okay. And the smaller flap on the left hand side is 5 inches by 5.5. Okay. Now someone contacted me in the week about the trimmer, saying that they struggled to read the numbers across the top and the little bits. All I've done, it's a very low-tech way of doing this, is I squirted white acrylic paint across the top. Obviously this needs redoing. Squirted the white acrylic paint across the top, made sure, put some tissue over my finger and just made sure it went into all the little crevices where the little marks are, left it a minute or two and then just wiped it off with a wet wipe so the top bits came off. But it does leave these white here. As you can see, these are just random lines, but it does make that easier to see. So that's just a top tip if you've got a trimmer like that. So need to score these upside down. So 8 inches down, and we're going to score on the 6.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 5 by 5.5 inch side flap, we're going to score this again 1/2 inch on the 5.5 inch side. So let's see if this is working. So you can see that just there. And there, so hopefully that makes that easier for you to see. Okay, put my scorer to one side. And then we're just gonna fold on the crease, burnish it down, and then fold on this crease. And again, just burnish it down like that. So that's going to go on the left hand side, and this one's going to go on the right hand side. So I'll get my glue out. I'm just going to squeeze this out. I think it's been a bit cooler today, so it's not coming out as fast as it was, thankfully. So just line that up. Make sure it's straight. And then just burnish that down like that. Okay. And then this is going on the left hand side. It's 5 inches, the page is 8 inches, so we need 1.5 inches top and bottom. If you want it to be dead central, you can get your ruler like that. If you just pop your ruler up against it, pop your glue on your hinge, and then just, I would normally put my head right over the top so I can see that it is in line, but obviously if I do that I'll put my head in the way of the camera, so I'll just line that up. If you wanted to go slightly different, you could put it at the top, at the bottom, or you could just do it by eye. It's entirely up to you. Now on the bottom of this page we've got a pocket that goes along the bottom. So I'll stand that out of the way. So the pocket is what I call a simple pocket, a U-shaped pocket. It's entirely up to you. So we're going to cut one at 9 inches by 4 inches. And then we're going to score this in a U shape. So we're going to butt it up to the top. So on the 9-inch side, we're going to score it at 1/2 inch and 8.5 inches. And then we're going to spin it round, and on the 4-inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And I'm just going to miter the corners. Throw those away. And again, we're just going to fold over the hinges. Oops. And burnish those down. Like that. So we're going to pop the glue on here. Oops. Preferably not going off the end, and then just line that up at the bottom of the page. Make sure that's straight, level, and burnish that down. So that folds over, and then that folds over like that. Now again, we've got a pocket along here. So I'm going to use the same simple pocket. Now we know this is 9 inches because we've cut it to 9 inches. So this time, for the pocket on the flap, this only needs to be 3 inches wide. So if we just line that up like that. And then again, we're going to score it in a U shape. So we're going to score it at 1/2 inch, at 8.5 inches. And then on the 3-inch side, we're going to score it at 1/2 inch again. I'm sure you all know how to make these pockets by now. Trim this down. Get rid of those. I am trying to keep my workspace tidy, but it doesn't always work. So again, we're just going to fold these over and burnish them down. And again, there we go. Oh, hi Nicole. Oh, at least you're on your way back, and well, I was going to say you can have a rest, but if you're back going to the hospital tomorrow, it's not much fun. Hi Diana. So again, that's just, I'm going to line that up like so, and make sure that's pressed down. So we've now got our large pocket there with a flap, and that flap comes over, and we've got another pocket here that we'll do photo mats later. Helen, you do need to make a start. It has been mad recently. This time last week I was in Cambridge, and yeah, the weather is not glorious. For those of you that are not in the UK, it is, or not up north, it's cold. Well, it's not really cold, but it's wet and miserable. But never mind. There's not much we can do about it. So, page 2 on the back is a stacked pocket. Now, I'm sure you know how to do stacked pockets, but let's go through it step by step. So we need to cut the pockets. To make the pockets, it's 9 inches. So if I cut this down to 9 inches, so the first cut, we're going to make at 3 inches. So the bottom pocket is going to be 9 inches by 3 inches. So that's the first pocket. I'm doing this so I'll make sure I'm not going to get it confused. Then you want 2 more pockets, and they're both at 2 inches each. Okay. So we're just going to score the pockets. So on all of them, start with the largest pocket. We're going to score on the 9 inch side at 1/2 inch and at 8.5 inches. Spin it round, and then on the 3 inch side we're going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay, so that's our first pocket. Then for the next 2 pockets, I'm going to score at 1/2 inch and at 1/2 inch on each side. Then spin it round and score on the 1/2 inch on the 2 inch side, and that's the same for both of those second pockets. Again, just line that up. So that's at 1/2 inch and 8.5 inches. Spin it round, oops, and score at 1/2 inch. So, oops. And again, we're just going to miter those corners at the bottom. And I'm going to do exactly the same on these 2. Make sure you do it on all the corners. So, unless anyone's got an idea what to come up with for them, just chuck them in the bin, because life is too short to have lots of little bits flying around. So again, we're going to burnish that down. And again. Oops. And again. So make sure you get your page the right way up. Turn it over. And this pocket is going to go at the bottom of the page. There we go. So pop your glue on and just line that up at the bottom, and then just burnish that down so that glue really takes a good hold. So now we're going to do our next pocket. Let me see if I can. So if I put that there, you can see we're going to fold these sides across, and what I'm going to do is just offer that up and make sure it fits nicely inside. Now, because of the thickness of the embossing tool, this one is just slightly further apart. Doesn't always make a massive difference, but when you're sliding pockets inside the other, one inside the other, then it can become problematic. So if you just fold that over a little bit more and then burnish it down, so I know now that that's going to slide inside that pocket and sit nicely, lining up like that. So I'm going to move that out of the way so that it makes it easier for you to, it was just so it would be easier for you to see. And I'm going to put my glue, that's a bit wonky, on here and on this one, and obviously because that is just a guide, we're just going to offer it up, slide it in place, there we go, and make sure that's burnished down in place. There we go. Okay, so that's the first pocket. Then, so that one's going to just sit inside there. So again, I'm just going to fold those over. And burnish it down. And exactly the same on the other side. Fold that over and just burnish that down. So again, that's just going to sit nicely inside that top pocket. So you can see there, it's just going to sit nicely there. And then you've got your 3 pockets. So I'm going to pop some glue on here. And on this end, slide that back into place. And then once you're happy it's straight, just burnish that down. And you've got your 3 pockets there. So just quickly, we're going to do the photo mats basically, so I don't forget to do them. So for the front, we want one photo mat at 7 by 7 inches. So that's 7 inches by 7 inches. Then we want one at, not long enough, 7 by 5 inches. It's 5 inches by 7 inches. And then we want one at 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. So that's a bit too wide, but you can see your 7 by 7 photo mat will just slide in there. And your 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 will also, you can either put that in landscape or portrait, entirely up to you. It just depends what photograph you want to use in there. And then the 7 by 5 photograph will just slide into that front pocket, or into the pocket on the front of the flap. Okay, so for the back, cut some more photo inserts, or photo mats I should say. So we want one at 7 1/2 inches by 7 1/2 inches. Excuse me. Then we want one at, big enough, 7 by 5. If you keep these larger offcuts, you will use them later on in the book. So one at 7 by 5. And another one at 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, which will just fit your 6 by 4 photograph on with a small reveal. So just tidy these bits away. So again, if I pop that in there, you'll be able to see, that's come out, you've got one 7 1/2 by 7 1/2 photo mat at the top. Then you've got a 7 by 5 photo mat to go there. And then a 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 to go at the front. Now, as well as those, as I say, we've got the long, tall tags in the pack. So because they are pre-cut from the paper pad, I did find they weren't exactly the right size or equal sizes. So for these, there, so the paper, the tags literally just pop out of the pad like that. So as you can see, because there is a small portion left in between where the tags were, they're not exactly 3 inches wide. So what I found easiest to do, just put that to one side, was to get the tags. That one wasn't quite wide enough, there is one here. And then just stick the tags to one of your offcuts. If you want to ink the edges, you can do that. And then once it's stuck to your black card, you can just cut around it. Yeah, we'll ink it. So just ink around the edges just to get rid of any white that may be showing. If, for instance, you don't like, I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you decide actually that's a bit plain, you can flip it over and use, or if you want it plainer, you can flip it over and use the red side. You do have choices with it, whatever you decide you prefer. So just turn that over, line it up, and obviously with having glue on it, you do have a little bit of wiggle time. If it's not down totally straight, first of all, you can move it slightly. Once that's dried, which it does grab quite quickly, I'm just gonna trim that off on both sides, line it up, and trim it off. And I think I'm just going to use scissors. If you don't think you're going to be steady enough to do it with scissors, you can always use a ruler and your craft knife, but it's only a small part, so it's not that difficult. So that gives you your tag that will just slide into your pocket like that. So you can put it in whichever pocket you prefer. As you can see on my original one, I've then added on the little words and put the twine through the top. So you've got lots of choice with that. And I also punched a hole with, I use my Crop-A-Dale. You can use a standard hole punch, it really doesn't matter. The Crop-A-Dale does have 2 different sizes of hole punches. I think it's 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. But you can just line that up and squeeze, and you've got your hole there so that you can then thread your twine through. So put them the right way up. Just have a quick slurp of my drink whilst I read what's... It was fun popping those out, Helen. So, quick tidy up because my cardstock's falling all over. So, like I say, keep your offcuts of black card. So what's everyone been up to recently? Anybody done any really good crafting? Anybody got any pictures to show us? Let's have a look. Oh, no, it's not. Looked like Facebook had frozen. Okay, so that's page 2. And just so I don't forget, I'm going to pop that on there. I'm going to put these tags to one side. I'll decorate them all at the end. I'll back them on black card. So I'm going to move on to page 3 front. So 1, 2. So page 3 front. Or do you want to decorate? Do you want to decorate all at the end? So page 3 front, we've got a flap on the right hand side and a pocket on the left hand side with again another large photo mat. The flap on the right hand side has 2 flat pockets and another pocket on the inside. So lots of flips and flaps. So we'll cut all the pieces out. We'll do it step by step, then nobody gets. So to start with, we're going to do the pocket on the left hand side and then the flap on the right hand side. So the pocket for the left hand side needs to be cut at 9 inches by 4 inches. So cut that at 9 inches by 4 inches. Line that up straight. The flap for the right hand side, we'll cut that at the same time, is going to be cut at 7.5 by 7 inches. So that's 7 inches by 7.5 inches. So we'll do those two first. So the simple pocket, we're going to score on the 9 inch side at 1/2 inch and at 8.5 inches. Spin that round, and on the 4 inch side, I'm going to score that at 1/2 inch. And then on the flap, on the 7.5 inch side, score at 1/2 inch. Okay. Is everyone keeping up? Am I going too fast? Not fast enough? Too slow? Let's have a quick. So we're just going to burnish these down. Helen working on a Saturday, that's shocking. Definitely need to reclaim your dining room table. So just mitre your corners. Oh, definitely take Friday off if they've got you working Saturday. over and burnish that down. Working Saturday. Well, I hope your journey to Birmingham was better than mine was yesterday. Should have taken us 2 hours, and because of the rain and the traffic on the motorway, it took us just short of 3 hours. But hey ho, that's what happens when you get stuck on a motorway. So first of all, we're going to put our pocket on the left hand side. Denise, I'm using graphic. Oh, I can't remember which one what colour that collection is. That a very blue, red and green graphic 45 collection? I can't remember if I've used that. Be interesting to see your pictures when you've done with a different paper collection, Denise. So pop some glue on the bottom of the pocket. And then make sure you've got your page the right way up, so your openings are left and right. And then just line that up on the left hand side. And burnish them down. Move that then. So just burnish that down. And then the flap for the right hand side. Now again, this flap is 7 inches. The page is 8 inches, which means there's a 1 inch difference. So if you aren't sure of doing it by eye, or you don't know if you want it, you can just pop that in place, line it up so you've got 1/2 inch top and bottom, burnish that down, and there's your flap. And there's a bit too much glue, so it's oozed out the back, so I'll just rub that away. So that's your first flap to go on there. So now we need to do the pockets that sit on the front here. Right, so we're going to do 2 flaps that go along here. So we need to cut 2 at 6.5. Not quite. Yeah. At 6.5 by 4.5. So that's the 4.5. That's my 6.5 mark. So I'm going to spin that round. So I want 2 of those. Not quite wide enough. So again, we're going at 4.5. Measure it down, that's 6.5. Spin it round. Trim that off. So I'm going to work through these step by step, just because I want to make sure that you've sorted it. So, get my scoreboard back out. And we're going to score at 1/2 inch on the 6.5 inch side. And these, right, just spotted an error in the instructions. These only need to be 4 inches wide. So I'm just going to, because obviously 2 4s make 8, and they're going to be 8 inches on the page. So I'm going to trim those down to 4 inches. I will amend the instructions. So I will okay. I had read through this, but I think I'm sure you'll be able to share photos, Denise. So first of all, we've got, right, so if we fold these in half, pop that there, then you can see. So if we score on these edges, on both of them, I hope this shows up better for you. So these 2 flaps are going to go on here, and I still can't add up, because if it's a 7 inch piece, 1/2 of 7 is 3.5, not 4. Can you tell my maths brain's gone today? So 2 flaps at 6.5 by 3.5, so they just line up on there. So if I stick that underneath, you can see there's a tiny gap in the middle, but they do just fit on the front there. Okay, so if I get the glue, ooh, thought it wasn't going to come out then, and line the first one up right at the top. Make sure it's lined up on both sides. So you can tell I'm doing this live, because otherwise I'd have redone that and put the correct, cut the correct size to start with. Okay, that's the first one. So I'll do the second one. And again, we'll just line that up along the side and the bottom. Trying to do that without sticking my head under the camera. And there you go. So you've now got your 2 flaps there. Okay. So now we need to cut, excuse me, the pockets that go on the front. So I'll move that out of the way. So we need to cut 2 at 6.5 by 4.5. So I use some of my offcuts up. Six and a half by 4.5. It's a bit wonky there. Not wide enough. Not quite. So I'll get another piece of card. So 4.5 by 6.5. Now, again, these are the simple pockets. So on the 4.5 inch side, going to score at 1/2 inch and at 4 inches. Spin it round and score on the 6.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. And do that on both pockets. Then again, we're just going to miter those corners just to give it a little bit of an easier, oh sorry, less bulky corner. So again, we're just going to fold these down and burnish those down. And do both of those. And again on that one. And again at the bottom end. So it makes it easier for you to see. Move this out of the way. So the first pocket is going to sit on the top flap, and it should just be the same size as your top flap. So we're going to pop glue on the back again. So you put your opening end is to the right. And I'm just going to line that up. Move slightly. So that is now a flap with a pocket on the front. So it opens in there. So that will slide in there and you've got a pocket there. So again, same with the bottom pocket. And we're just going to pop your glue on there. Like that. And again, we're going to pop that on the bottom. Line it up straight. and just burnish that down. So again, you've got a pocket for that to go in and out of. Okay. So when we open these, we also have a pocket down this side. We've already cut that. Which was at 8 by 4, which is not that one at all. I've messed all my pieces up. So I'll trim that down. I think I've cut the wrong one up. So that's 8 inches. By 4 inches. So again, on the 8-inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch and at 7.5 inches. And then on the 4-inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. We're going to miter the corners with just a little twist in the middle to make sure it doesn't get too bulky. And fold that over and burnish that down. And again, on each side. So this is the flap on the right hand side, and this pocket is going to sit flush there. Pop the glue on the ends. And line it up. Top and bottom, and along the side, and then just burnish that down. Squeeze the easy glue out. So then you have a pocket on this side. So if you look at the full page, you have a pocket, a large pocket there with a flap. On your flap, you have two flaps, both of which have pockets in. And when you flip them over, you then have a pocket there to put your photo mats in. So when I'm showing you like this, does it make it easier using the black and the white card or not? If it's going to confuse you, I'll not do it. But if it makes it easier for you, I'll carry on. So we'll cut the photo mats for this page here. So starting at the back, we need one at 7.5 by 7.5. So let's have a look at this one. That's not quite. So that's 7.5 by 7.5. So that's the first one. Then we want one at 6.5 by 6.5. And then we want two at 6. Oh, use a smaller one. Actually, no, I can't. At 6.25 by 3.25. So again, 6.25 by 3.25. So your large 7.5 by 7.5 photo mat will go into your large pocket. Close the flap. Move those two out of the way. Your 6.5 by 6.5 will go into this pocket. Now, with this one, you can put a landscape or a portrait photograph and then just use some of your pattern paper when you finish doing your book to cover the rest of the photo mat up. So then we've got our two flap pockets on the front, and these photo mats just go inside, and I've done it so that they stick out ever so slightly, which means that once these are decorated, that's got it's sticking on the bottom. Sometimes that happens if your glue oozes a little bit, but if you get your bone, if it's a flat bone folder, and just go to the edges, it will go in second time. So I've left that out slightly so that when you go to pull your photo mats out, you've got something to hold on to. Okay, so that's the front of page 3. So just get the right pencil. Page 3 front. Okay, so if we can do some decorating now, or you can go away and decorate on your own. Let me know in the comments if you prefer to decorate as you go along, or if you make the pages up and then decorate all at once. What do you find works best for you? very quiet tonight compared to last week without the all the fireworks and everything going off. Okay, so we'll leave it there for tonight. You can, if you want to decorate as you go along, you can decorate as you go along. If you want to leave it and decorate it all at the end, it's entirely up to you. I may get on with decorating. Now, just a quick bit of advice. Next week, I am going to a funeral next Wednesday, one of my best friend's mums. Now, unfortunately, it's pretty much at the opposite. It's on the south coast of the UK, which is about a 4.5–5 hour drive from where we are. So, because there's no way we'll be back from a 1 o'clock funeral by 7 o'clock, what I'm going to do is do the live, but I'll do it on the Thursday evening. So it's just being delayed by a day, just because I know there's no way we'll be able to get back in time without hiccup on the motorway or traffic jams. Even if we came straight back, it would be looking about 9 o'clock at night. So just next week, because I don't want to leave it, not do it, because I need to get this finished for Christmas. But so just next week, the live class will be on Thursday evening. Again, I will upload it into the YouTube channel, but it will be later next week. If you're watching on YouTube and not watching it live, you probably won't mind, because it's not going to make any difference to you. So yeah, it's a bit, don't really want to go, but kind of do. So, oh, Helen's still here. Chris had to out. Lacrosse ball to the chest is not fun. I hope he's not damaged his ribs or anything. That's not pleasant. So have a lovely weekend, all of you, and I'll see you back here next week. But again, it will be on Thursday evening, not Wednesday. And if those of you that have decorated as they've gone along, pop your pictures in the group and let me see, just because I'm nosy, and see what it looks like in the papers that you've chosen, because obviously you don't have to choose the same papers that I did in the same places that I did. Okay, so I will see you all next Thursday. Have a lovely weekend and see you soon.